Why, hello, little ones. It's a pleasure to see you again. Have you been well since the last time that we were together? I do hope so. We care ever so much about each and every one of you. That's why we created the safe space, so that no matter where you go or what kind of a day you're having, you'll have a safe space to come and sit and listen to a story. And if you're brave enough to tell us your name, you can have a sheep in Bo Peep's flock just for you. And speaking of sheep, we've had a number of new ones since the last time that we met. Would you like to see them? You would? All right then. I see Aaron and Abel and Alice and Alicia and Andrew, Amalia, Amelia, Amy, Andrea, Angel, Anne, Annie, Ash, and Azili. That's all the A's. On to the B's. BB, Beep, Billy, Blue, Brownie, Bunny. That's all the B's. On to the C's. Candy, Cara, Carol, Cassie, Chalk, Chantal, Charlie, Christopher, Christopher D, Claire, Cody, Connor, Crystal. That's all for the C's. Now on to the D's. I see Danny and Danny, Diana and Dodie. That's all for the D's. Now for the E's. I see E and Ellie and Elliot and Emily and Eve and Evelyn. Now on to the F's. I see Finn and Freak and FTM. Now on to the G's. I see Glitter, God's Angel Systems, Gracie, and Gregory. Now on to the H's. I see Hannah and Holly and Hyphen. That's all for the H's, and there's only one Isabel for the I's. On to the J's. I see Jack and Jaxie and John and Jenny and Jane. Now on to the K's. I see Kai and Karen and Kate and Kinsu and Kit. On to the L's. Lammy, Layla, Left, Leo, Leah, Lily, and Lily, and Little Abby, and Little Llama, and Lizzie, Luca, the Lunar System, and Lydia. On to the M's. I see Marigold, and Marina, and Mason, and Maribel, and Mia, and Mike, Miles, Mimi, Meanie, Missus, Mist, Misty, and Molly. Now on to the N's. The Never Wonder Littles, Nickel, Nicky, Nobody, Nothing. I don't believe you're nothing. But on to the O's. Orchid, Oscar, Oscar, Oxys. On to the P's. Pan, Pearl, Phoenix, Pippin, Potato, and Pumpkin. On to the Q's, of which there's only one, Quinn. On to the R's. Radiance, Ray, Raja, Raven, Remy, Ruru, and Rosie. On to the S's. I see Sarah and Scarlet and Sarah, Seven, Sierra, Shicey, Sunny, Stefan, Stephanie, Sunny, Sunshine, and Susie. On to the T's. I see Taylor and the triplets and Timmy and Titch and Thomas and Torin and Tutu and Yuki. What wonderful names! And you know what? Those are all your names. Your names on Bo Peep's flock and the sheep. That way, no matter where you go, no matter what kind of a day you're having, you'll always be a part of the safe space where we come and sit and listen to a story. And speaking of stories, this time I picked out a wonderful story. It's called The Velveteen Rabbit. But whatever have I done with it? It's not over here by Bo Peep and the sheep and the tree, and it's not over here by Mr. Bear and the castle. I wonder where it could be. I know! Let's have a look in the chest, shall we? Excuse me, Mr. Bear, we'll have to move you. Isn't he a lovely bear? He's so terribly pink, and he has this perfectly lovely heart with a terribly important word written on it. Do you know what that word is? Yes, it's love. L-O-V-E. Love. And that is a terribly important word to remember, because you are loved. All right, Mr. Bear, we'll sit you down there while we open up the chest. What's this? More books. And, sure enough, here's the book we're looking for. The Velveteen Rabbit. All right, Mr. Bear, we'll let you hold that while we close up the chest, so you'll have a place to sit and listen to the story too. There you go. Now then, are you ready? Do you have your blankie or your stuffie or your favorite toy? If not, go and get them. We'll be right here waiting for you. Do you have them now? Excellent. All right, everyone snuggle up, put your best listening ears on as we read The Velveteen Rabbit. The Velveteen Rabbit by Marjorie Williams. Illustrated by Florence Graham. There was once a Velveteen Rabbit. He was fat and bunchy. His coat was spotted brown and white, and his ears were lined with pink sateen. On Christmas morning, when he sat wedged in the top of the boy's stocking with a sprig of holly between his paws, the effect was charming. For at least 2 hours the boy loved him, and then, in the excitement of looking at all the new presents, the Velveteen Rabbit was forgotten. For a long time he lived in the nursery. He was naturally shy, and some of the more expensive toys snubbed him. The mechanical toys were very superior, and pretended they were real. The model boat caught the same tone and referred to his rigging in technical terms. Even the jointed wooden lion put on airs. The only person who was kind to him at all was the skin horse, who had lived longer in the nursery than any of the others. "What is real?" the rabbit asked the skin horse one day. "Does it mean having things that buzz inside you and a stick-out handle?" "Real isn't how you are made," said the skin horse. "It's a thing that happens to you. When a child loves you for a long, long time, you become real. Generally, by the time you are real, most of your hair has been loved off, and you get very shabby." "I suppose you are real?" said the rabbit. "The boy's uncle made me real many years ago," said the skin horse. "Once you are real, it lasts for always." The rabbit sighed. He thought it would be a long time before this magic called real happened to him. One evening, when the boy was going to bed, he couldn't find the china dog that always slept with him. "Here," said Nana, who ruled the nursery, "take your old bunny. He'll do to sleep with you." That night, and for many nights after, the Velveteen Rabbit slept in the boy's bed. The rabbit grew to like it, for the boy made nice tunnels for him under the bedclothes that he said were like the burrows the real rabbits lived in. And when the boy dropped off to sleep, the rabbit would snuggle down under the boy's warm chin and dream. The little rabbit was so happy that he never noticed how his beautiful velveteen fur was getting shabbier and his tail coming unsewn, and all the pink rubbed off his nose where the boy had kissed him. Spring came, and the rabbit had rides in the wheelbarrow, and picnics on the grass, and fairy huts built for him under the raspberry canes. Once, when the boy was called away suddenly, the rabbit was left out on the lawn until long after dusk, and Nana had to come and look for him because the boy couldn't sleep unless he was there. "Fancy all that fuss for a toy," said Nana. The boy sat up in bed. "He isn't a toy," he said. "He's real." When the little rabbit heard that, he was happy, for he knew that what the skin horse had said was true at last. One summer evening, the rabbit saw 2 strange beings creep out of the bracken. They were rabbits like himself, but quite furry. Their seams didn't show at all, and they changed shape when they moved. "Can you hop on your hind legs?" asked the furry rabbit. "I don't want to," said the little rabbit. The furry rabbit stretched out his neck and looked.
"He hasn't got any hind legs," he called out, "and he doesn't smell right. He isn't a rabbit at all. He isn't real." "I am real," said the little rabbit. "The boy said so." Just then there was the sound of footsteps, and the two strange rabbits disappeared. For a long time the little rabbit lay very still. Then the boy came and carried him home. One day the boy was ill. His face grew very flushed, and his little body was so hot that it burned the rabbit when he held him close. It was a long, weary time. Presently the fever turned, and the boy got better. The doctor ordered that all the books and toys that the boy had played with in bed must be burned. And so the little rabbit was carried out to the garden. Nearby he could see the raspberry canes, in whose shadow he had played with the boy, and a great sadness came over him. Of what use was it to be loved and become real if it all ended like this? And a tear, a real tear, trickled down his shabby velvet nose and fell to the ground. And then a strange thing happened. For where the tear had fallen, a flower grew, and out of it there stepped a fairy. She kissed the little rabbit on his nose. "I am the nursery magic fairy," she said. "I take all of the playthings that the children have loved. When they are old and worn out and the children don't need them anymore, I come and take them away with me and turn them into real." "Wasn't I real before?" asked the little rabbit. "You were real to the boy," the fairy said, "because he loved you. Now you shall be real to everyone." And she held the little rabbit close in her arms and flew him into the wood. In the open glade the wild rabbits danced with their shadows. The fairy kissed the little rabbit again and put him down on the grass. "Run and play, little rabbit," she said. But the little rabbit sat quite still. He did not know that when the fairy kissed him that last time, she had changed him altogether. He might have sat there a long time if just then something hadn't tickled his nose, and he lifted his hind leg to scratch it. And he found that he actually had hind legs. Instead of dingy velveteen, he had brown fur, soft and shiny, and his ears twitched by themselves. He gave one leap, and the joy of using those hind legs was so great he went springing about, jumping sideways and whirling around as the others did, and he grew so excited that when he did stop to look for the fairy, she had gone. He was a real rabbit at last, at home with the other rabbits. Autumn passed and winter, and in the spring the boy went out to play in the wood. While he was playing, two rabbits crept out from the bracken and peered at him. One of them was golden brown all over, but the other had strange markings under his fur, as though long ago he had been spotted. And about his little soft nose and round black eyes there was something familiar, so that the boy thought to himself, "Why, he looks just like my old bunny that was lost when I had scarlet fever." But he never knew that it was really his own bunny, come back to look at the child who had first helped him to be real. And look, there's the boy holding his hands out to the two bunnies. Do you think he ever suspects? I think he might. The end.
Wasn't that a wonderful story? The Velveteen Rabbit there. He got his wish and became real in the end, didn't he? It was terribly nice of the fairy and the boy to do that for him. Do you know, being real is just as important thing to us as it was to the Velveteen Rabbit. On the inside, things can be very higgledy-piggledy and, well, quite confusing. Sometimes you may doubt yourself. You might say, am I real at all? Do I really exist? Well, yes, you do. And being real is just as important for you as it is for the Velveteen Rabbit. You just simply have to hang in there and believe in yourself and talk to your older brothers and sisters. Then things will work out just fine. I think that would be a good thing to do. Don't you? Well, little ones, that's all for now. We'd like to thank you for coming to the safe space and thank your older brothers and sisters on the inside for letting you do so. And now, before we go, we have 3 very important things to remember, don't we? And I thought it would be an excellent idea if we said them all together. So, always remember that you are loved, that you are strong, and that you are not alone. I'm Percival. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.